Hello, hello, hi, folks. Happy Sunday, in hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. Welcome, welcome. Trying to get it straight. Um, how are you guys? Hopefully, you got a good weekend. And if you're working, well, tomorrow is the day that it all starts all over again. I came across this story by Darren Hardy, and yeah, to money, and he does what's called a Darren Daily, and really good stuff. So he shares some kind of a personal development, some kind of a strategy, some kind of a thought under 5 minutes. And this comes Monday through Friday through email. So it's Darren Daily if you want to sign up for that. Obviously, it's free. But the other day he sent Darren Daily that I listened to, and it was a story about a lady, and it was a really cool story. You guys know I love stories, and I happen to love stories, and I especially love true stories, right? And this happens to be a true story, so it's a really cool story. So, and it's an illustration that, you know what, it pays to pay attention to people, right? And I have an actual similar story to this, but this is such a cool story. I got to share this with you. So many years ago, an elderly lady was kind of strolling through Pittsburgh department store, and it became pretty obvious that she is just looking around, not a serious shopper, right? So she passed counter after counter without anybody paying any attention to her. In fact, all the salespeople had spotted her as what? A looker and not a serious buyer. They even made a point to kind of look another way when she would come to their counter, like pretend that they're busy, or I've been in the sales world, in the retail world, so I know exactly what they're talking about. But you know, so they would look away, pretend that they're not paying attention to her, obviously. Finally, she gets to a counter. I don't know what that is. Team Money, are you tagging somebody? I don't know what that means. So finally, she comes to a counter that was attended by a young man, and she approached the young man who bowed politely to her. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Um, and with a wide smile, he asked if she could use some help to find anything. No, she replied, I'm just killing time, waiting for the rain to stop so that I can go home. Very well, madame, the young man smiled. May I bring a chair for you? And he brought out a chair without even waiting for her to answer her. B Money, T Money gang is here. After the rain stops, the young man took the lady, excuse me, the young man took the lady by the arm and escorted her to the street and waved her goodbye. As she left, she asked him for his business card. Gave it to her. Several months down the road, the owner of the store gets a letter asking that this young man be sent to Scotland to take an order for decorating a home, for furnishing of a home. The owner of the store wrote back that the young man does not work in home furnishings. However, he explained that he would love to send an experienced man to do the job. Well, back came the reply that no, no one would do except this part, this particular young man. And the letter was signed, are you ready for this? Andrew Carnegie. And the house he wanted to furnish was Skibo Castle in Scotland. What? How crazy is that story? Such a crazy story. But wait, there's more. And the elderly lady was Mrs. Carnegie's mother. The young man was sent to Scotland, obviously, and received an order of several $100,000 worth of furnishings. Later, that young man became the owner of half interest in the store because of the size of that order. How crazy is that? How crazy is that story? I love these stories. I love these true stories that end up like this, right? I love these stories. Years ago, true story, years ago, I was working at Tiffany's at the mall. And pretty insane. Yeah, I know, man. I love this story. Not Dale Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie's mom. What? So years ago, I was working at Tiffany's, right? There's a lady that comes in. She was wearing like kind of just like scrubs and stuff, right? Nothing really fancy schmancy. And she comes in, she's older, she's really older. She comes in and nobody pays any attention to her, right? You could tell that she's probably not gonna buy. So, and she's walking around, she's kind of strolling around. And I approached her, I said, hey, how are you, this, that. And I don't know what I said, but we talked and she said, can I get your card? Obviously, I gave her my card, and then I want to say about a month after, she came back to the store all decked out. Like this time she was all dressed up to the, like, she was in her 80s, and she was all dressed up, and and she comes in and bam, she drops a Black American Express, and she buys a bunch of stuff. And she became one of my regular clients, and she would come in all the time, call, and I want this, I want that kind of a thing. And she dropped money like there was no tomorrow. And it turned out that she actually owned one, like a club, restaurant, lounge down here in the town called Laguna Beach, if you've heard of it. But yeah, so she was an owner of that, club lounge. And that first time she came to Tiffany's, I was the one who approached her, and nobody would approach her. And like I said, she was not dressed nice. Let's just put it this way. She was dressed in, like, I don't know, I can't even call it a workout clothes. It was just raggedy old clothes, right? And then the next day she comes in like with jewelry and just like decked out. I was like, I didn't even recognize her. She goes, I was so-and-so. I'm like, whoa, what happened? She goes, yeah, I'm the owner of this club. And the club was a very famous club. And I said, wait a minute, you're the owner of that club? Yes. And, never know. You never know who you talk to, right? You never know who you giving service to. You never know who you're being nice to. You never know who you're not being nice to. Let's talk about the other side too, right? You can be nice, you can be polite, you can be this, you can be that, and you also could not be all those, right? But imagine, in this case, imagine if this young man was not polite, was like everybody else. This guy becomes the owner, half owner of the store based on one order. Think about that. Talk about his life changed overnight with the one customer, right? Now, here's the big point of this story. My question to you and your question to you should be, what would you do in that situation? What would you do? Would you approach her? Would you talk to her? Or would you turn your face the other way like everybody else did, pretending you don't see her, like, you know what I mean? What would you do? And it doesn't have to be just this scenario. How many times have you had people kind of approach you, you kind of know they're going to ask for money or whatever, and you're like pretending you're on your phone, or you're pretending you're busy, or pretending, you know, I don't know, pretending you don't speak English, I don't know, right? How many times have you kind of ignored people that wanted help from you? How many times have you kind of overlooked, like looked the other way when people are waving at you, trying to get your attention to give them a helping hand? See, it's not about just sales and a customer coming to your counter. Not very often. Very good, T-Money, good job, right? It's not just about sales, it's just about life. You know, we are, most of us are, yes you are, that is very true. But most of us run away from or hide away from a chance to help. You know, a lot of us talk a big game. Oh, I love to help people. I love to help people. And when it comes down to it, are you really in love with helping people? Sometimes you gotta really think about yourself, right? You're like, am I really? You know, am I being truthful with me? If I see an older lady or a man crossing the street having a hard time, do I pull over and walk them over? Do I stop the traffic? If somebody is walking into a store and they're having a tough time with the door, do I run over and just kind of open the door for them? I'm giving you some examples, right? Because it's not just about a countertop, and it's not about sales and buying something. It's not always about that. Dude, this light is killing my eyes. I don't know why. Right? So it's not always about that. It's about, like I've talked about this before in my other lives. You can be kind in one scenario, right? You can have you can have a chance to be kind, and you take that chance and you are kind to somebody, or you are a kind person. See, that's a whole different world. See, you can be kind to one person in one situation, but are you kind all around? Right? It's the same thing here. Are you approaching this lady because it's this one lady for some reason? Or are you that kind of a person? Absolutely. I know you are. Right? So think about those questions and think about that, or remind yourself of this story the next time you get an opportunity to be there for somebody, or give a helping hand without being asked, or without a prize. It's huge. Hopefully you got some love, some inspiration, some value from this. I appreciate you guys joining me live. T-Money, staying awake in 23 degree. Oh my goodness, I don't miss that. 23-degree weather, staying up, talking to me. Much love, Money. I appreciate you. Hopefully you got some love. Hey, if you want to share it, tag a couple people to this. Tag a couple people to this. Share it on your wall. Do what you gotta do. Spread the love. I want to know about your feedback. I want to know if you actually were in a position like that, like my story, right? Where you B Money left. I know you probably went to sleep. I want to know if you were stuck in a situation like that. If you gave a helping hand without thinking of a prize, without thinking of there's an incentive attached to this, right? If you have a story like that, share it with us. Drop it in the comments below. Let this feed grow. I appreciate you guys. And if you share, you show that you care. Until tomorrow, where we do it all over again. Much love.